No way around that. Don't even ask, don't even try. If we could have put any amount of belongings in the vehicle, it would have solved like 1,000,001 problems of moving to Hawaii.
So after 2 full years of RV travel, after finally selling our RV, we couldn't really justify keeping our big diesel truck anymore since we really didn't need it.
Which is actually a super big shame. To date, favorite car.
Yeah, when you drive a big truck for the first time, you get really used to it.
It's
really
kind
fast.
of life-changing.
I love that truck. But we couldn't justify driving it around anymore. We decided to trade in the truck. We got a Toyota 4Runner, which we also really love.
That was what we were driving around before we got into our whole RV setup.
Yeah, so we were able to find one that's almost identical to one we used to have. So then just a few months later, the opportunity to come out to Hawaii happens. And the problem was we just bought this 4Runner. And we know we did not want to go through the hassle of trying to sell this car and then buying another car again. We're just done with it. So we wanted to see how difficult it was going to be to get our car from, at the time, Missouri, all the way over to Hawaii.
So we're in Missouri. The first thing that we did was that we just got online to reserve the day to drop off our vehicle. So we booked the day before we were to fly out of the mainland. We specifically booked our one-way plane tickets. Tickets. We specifically booked our one-way tickets off the mainland from Long Beach, knowing already that the port to drop off our vehicles was in the same city. You don't have to pay anything up front when you make the booking. The cost varies depending on which island it's being transported to.
So we had it set up perfectly to where we drop the car off and then we basically can get right on the plane right after that. So all we had to do was pack up the car and drive from Missouri all the way to Long Beach, California.
We made a little pit stop in Reno to drop off Forrest because getting him here is a story for another day. We drove down to Long Beach and we were able to drop our car off at the Matson port.
So we made it to the Long Beach pier. They gave us these vests we have to wear while we're here. Don't know why.
It's the last step we need to get done before we can board that plane tomorrow.
I thought it was going to be a big ordeal, but it was pretty simple.
Pretty straightforward. There's only a couple requirements. You need to make sure that your car is free of any and all personal items, which, yeah, there's no way around that. Don't even ask, don't even try.
They're very strict about
They're
that.
very strict. If we could have put any amount of belongings in the vehicle, it would have solved like 1,000,001 problems of moving to Hawaii.
Yeah.
So no personal items whatsoever. The car needs to be, clean inside, outside. The only things that you are allowed to keep inside the vehicle are like child safety seats if you have a car seat or a booster seat. But other than that, on top of only having a 1/4 tank of gas, no more, no less.
Luckily, it just magically happened. Right as we were pulling up, we were just at that 1/4 tank mark, so I was hoping they weren't going to be insanely strict because we were just over a little bit.
It was perfect.
But they didn't say anything about that.
Of course, like your registration has to be up to date, plates need to be on licensure, all of the legality things. And then we had to submit payment. If you're going from Long Beach to Oahu, I believe it's around $1,800 to $1,900. I know it's under $2,000. Since we were transporting from Long Beach to Kauai, our amount was a little bit further since the boat has to stop in Honolulu before making its way over here to Kauai. So our total amount was $2,351, but it's just a one-time payment. We dropped off our vehicle and she was all set for her voyage over here.
Hopefully they take care of her.
When you do make your booking on Matson.com, you have access to their shipping schedule, which I did make sure I looked at beforehand based off of like what day we were dropping it off and the next boat that was going out. I had an estimated date. Fast forward to dropping our vehicle off and they gave us a new estimated pickup date, which was several weeks out further of what their original shipping schedule told us. So at this point in time, we're a little unsure. We have 2 different dates, and the date that they give you anyways, they're like, yeah, it might show up around this date, but like
Who knows?
Nothing's guaranteed.
Yeah, just because you drop your car off to them, they'll take it the day that you get there. It does not mean it's getting on the boat that day.
Nope.
We knew it was going to be at least a few weeks. So we did have a car to get to when we arrived on the island. We rented this little truck through Turo, and we rented it for 3 weeks. And how much did that cost?
That was around $1,500.
It was expensive, but we knew we needed a car. And while I had to start working right away, when we got here, we had to start furnishing our apartment.
Right away. We
had to have a car.
landed here on May 15th, and I had to show up at work at 8 a.m. on May 16th. So that just shows you how, like, whoop, zipped up and tight our timeline was.
At that 3-week point, we found out that the car was nowhere near getting to the island
I
yet.
don't even think it was, like, on its way yet.
We had a couple more weeks at least, so we had to figure something out. So we didn't want to spend an extra $1,500 to keep that truck, so we gave it back. And luckily, our new and awesome landlord, Ben, he happened to have an extra car lying around, so he let us borrow his really cool Jeep until our car arrived, free of charge, just because he's a nice guy.
We were
totally saved
so
the day.
grateful.
Unfortunately, after having that Jeep for about 4 days, it actually broke down on us on the side of the road coming home from the beach one day. And Ben felt really bad about it. We obviously weren't upset, but we were a little bit worried, like, oh no, now what are we going to do? This free car that we had is now not running.
But Ben came and rescued us and said, hey, we actually have another vehicle that we're not using that we can, like, put you guys up in today.
So we had another free car to drive around for another week and a half. Thank you again, Ben. You guys saved our lives.
And our pockets.
And
we
our
really,
pockets.
really appreciate it because moving to Hawaii is not an inexpensive feat.
So after what seemed like an eternity, all right, today's the day. We finally get our car on island. Took about 5.5 weeks to get here. A little bit longer than we thought, but I see it right over there. Noelle's doing the paperwork. Hopefully it's simple enough to just let us drive it home. So other than being kind of expensive and needing a lot of patience, the car arrived, no problems. It's ours now. We got her home. So getting our car to Hawaii actually ended up being one of the easier parts of this entire move.
It really was. Getting it registered, on the other hand, is a whole nother story. And if you want to hear about it right now, just click on this video and it takes you through the entire process of once you get your car on island, how to get it actually legal.
Yeah, I'm convinced that no state, not even Hawaii, has a properly running DMV service.
Don't even get me started. But remember, adventure is out there. Some good, some bad, some hard, but it's out there. So go on and follow your adventurous spirit.
So now we just got to figure out how to get our dog here.